What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video in the next episode of the MotoGP 25 career mode for the 11th round of the season at Sachsenring, the German Grand Prix. Not one of my favourite circuits, it must be said. It's quite tight and twisty, but hopefully on these Moto3 bikes it won't be too much of a problem. If you missed the last episode at the Dutch Grand Prix, it was a good fight back from 19th on the grid to cross the line in 7th, but we were just lacking that little bit to get in that top 6 fight that was won by Angel Piqueras. We've dropped down to 3rd in the standings behind Piqueras and Rueda with a big uphill charge now as we head in towards the second half of the season. And yeah, we're heading to Sachsenring, the iconic Sachsenring circuit, with one goal on our minds, and that is to take back the control of the standings as we are 11 points behind Piqueras. But that's not going to be an easy task. We're going to have to rely on Piqueras having a little bit of bad luck once the lights go out on Sunday afternoon. But we've got the first small matter of free practice. We've got to get inside the top 14. If you remember back to the last episode, we failed to make Q2 for the first time this season. We qualified 19th on the grid, missing out by 50 thousandths of a second in Q1 to our rival Adrian Fernandez. But hopefully no such drama here in Sachsenring, as the weather looks stable throughout the weekend, but you never know. In Germany, and this time at Sachsenring, there's always a little bit of odd conditions. You know, you have to just think back to the MotoGP racing, 2014 was it, when everybody started from the pit lane. The weather can change here, and it is overcast as we roll out for free practice, or time practice at the end of Friday afternoon. But as we head in towards the left-hander of the Saxon curve, we've already got a rider down. It looked like it might be one of the Leopard riders crashing at the end of the back straight, and that cancels our first fly-in lap, which is a little bit frustrating, but I think it might be the story of the episode as another rider goes down and the Saxon curve further behind us. But across the line, it was the 26.6. That was our benchmark at the start of this session. We're going to use that, despite it being invalid. We'll use it as a target and as a marker, and this next lap should be quicker. But as we head down towards the Saxon curve again, we've got a rider ahead of us, 2 riders ahead of us. Hopefully everybody gets through safely. They do this time get through safely, so this lap looks like it's going to count. But we have a big slide from the rear as we got the traction down and towards the final corner now into this uphill left-hander, getting on the power, late apex, stand the bike up, get on the gas as hard as possible, and across the line it is a 25.8, so significantly quicker than that banker lap, but it is only P4 as it stands, and 0.2 of a second behind David Munoz. And as we move on towards the just under half an hour remaining on our very next lap, we're down to P9 as it stands, because Nicolo Carraro has jumped up to P8, Moodley in 7th, and Piqueras, the championship leader, cementing his place and picking up exactly where he left off in Assen at the top of the timesheets. Munoz there as well. Jacob Rolston having a good run there in 4th so far in this practice session, but we're going to put our Snipers Honda to the top of the pile. Thank you very much, and yeah, we'll take that one for now. But as we're skipping on with a bit of watching between the cracks of the fingers after what happened in Assen when Piqueras just suddenly went 6 seconds quicker. Piqueras has gone just under half a second faster than us in this one, so he means business. He has laid down the gauntlet. 0.445 seconds quicker. We in turn are 0.3 of a second quicker than Alvaro Carpe, so myself and Piqueras look like we have the outstanding pace here in Germany, and we're going to have to wait and see how that translates into the race. But as we come through the final corner, and that wasn't a good one anyway, but it has been cancelled. A Buchanan is just sitting on the exit of the final corner, so I'm not entirely sure what's happened there with Cormac, but he's just sat on the left, or the right hand side of the circuit. So a bit of a strange one there as we go on to start another lap in this session on the soft tyres. And one trending pattern that I've noticed is Lanetta has jumped up into 2nd position and pushes us down to 3rd ahead of our teammate Carraro, who's up to 4th. So Snipers having a good Friday here in Moto3. But one thing I have noticed is we seem to be struggling on the softer tyre compared to the medium tyre recently. We've not been able to put the soft in and go significantly quicker compared to like our more of a race run on the medium, and that translates again as we're unable to improve on the soft tyre. So it's P3 at the end of the day, but headlines are going to the MT Helmets MSI rider of Angel Piqueras who really cements his place at the top of the timesheets. Munoz missing out on Q2 is quite a big story as well. And Jose Antonio Rueda scraping through by the skin of his teeth down in P13. So quite a few stories coming out of Friday here in Sachsenring. Piqueras on top, Lanetta second, and we are in the mix in third. Our pace looking good in the German Grand Prix, but it's now time for qualifying. Similar conditions to free practice. Whether that means that we'll put the medium on, because the medium tyre, we were quicker with the medium than we were with the soft tyre, but we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out as we head into qualifying. It's Bertele, Munoz, Kelso and Cormac Buchanan who join us into Q2. From Q1, Bertele setting the times in Q1, so he's going to be a man to keep an eye on with that little bit extra track experience, track knowledge and the fastest time in Q1. Munoz, Kelso and Buchanan all there with a point to prove as well, especially Munoz after his 6th place in Assen, and Kelso, who really is struggling with form at this moment in time. But as we come across the line to start our flying lap with 8.5 minutes remaining on the clock, Luca Lanetta currently the man to beat with a 24.6 as we head in towards the first corner. This kind of tricky right-hander, double apex right-hander. We hit none of the apexes there and then have a big moment as we transition to the left-hand side for turn number 2. Now through this long right-hander, the Amiga curve, as we head through here. Late apex again, but don't get too caught up on the inside curve because the track goes uphill, and as you hit that curb, traction breaks away from you, and it's not been a good lap. And as we come out of the waterfall section, we've invalidated the lap. We go over the curb on the left hand side as we now come out of this right hander. Much better this time round, but as we glance at the leaderboard, Piqueras in 14th, Carpe 15th, Rueda 16th. So our championship challengers are not having the qualifying session that they hoped for, especially Piqueras, who was the man to beat in Friday practice. He's down in 14th, but there's still 5 minutes left of the session and still another run to be had and another go at it. But as we cross the line, it's only P14 for us as well. So we are struggling here. The championship contenders way out of position as it stands, but we do have another lap to go for it on this one. It's half a tenth down at the moment, and this might mean if we aren't going to gain any more time, because we're 0.8 of a second down and the clock is ticking, we might peel off into the pit lane to put a new set of tyres in. And as we head into the final corner, we're still down on our time, and we are going to do just that. We're going to peel off into the pit lane and bring in a brand new soft tyre. However, we've got it all wrong going into pit lane, and we've been given a long lap penalty for speeding in the pit. So we have a long lap penalty now hanging over our heads for the German Grand Prix, which is not good when we're already down in P15. So we need the lap of our lives here to get near the front of this pack, to then factor in the fact that we've got to do a long lap penalty here at turn 1 some point in this race. So as we head onto our, what will hopefully be our penultimate lap of the race, or if we absolutely nail it, our final lap of the session, should I say, not race, as we head through Amiga Curve once more. We've got Jacob Rolston just ahead of us, so a nice bit of a marker as we go out on these fresh soft tyres. But as we said before, the softer tyre, the new softer tyre, I can't seem to get the most out of it. However, at this moment in time, we are 0.2 of a second under our best time, 0.8 of a second down from the letter, so that's the target. We need to be around 6 to 8 tenths of a second quicker than our previous best lap, and we're going to make up a bit more time, I think, through this section of the track. Another tenth and a bit, 2 tenths as we're climbing up the hill, chasing down Rollstone with every given opportunity at every single corner. A look at where our rivals are. Piqueras up to 14th, Rueda still down in 17th place, 6 tenths of a second quicker than our previous best as we head into the penultimate corner, praying that Rollstone doesn't come to grief. He doesn't. The yellow flags remain in as we head through the final couple of corners. On the brakes into the final corner, nice and late on the apex. Rollstone sparking ahead of us. He peels off into the pit lane. 0.8 of a second gained. We cross the line. Is it pole? It's not. It's the same lap time as Luca Lanetta. We set exactly the same lap time as our rival. We're going to go for another lap though, because we just need 1,000th of a second, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. It was not an improvement, and Luca Lanetta takes pole position. We set exactly the same lap time. Our rival, Piqueras, 15th, Rueda, 17th. So we are all of a sudden in the driving seat, despite having a long lap. we're in the driving seat with a good result. We could be back in the championship lead. But look who's third. Carraro on the sniper's bike. He starts third. Fernandez fourth. Pini fifth. Almanza rounding out row 2. But we've got a front row start.
Good morning from Gavin Emmett at the Saxon Ring. We're at one of the most technical tracks in the championship, where tyres are often put to the test. In a few moments, we'll move to the main straight to watch the start of the Moto3 race.
9 laps of the Saxon Ring circuit. That is the story for the German Grand Prix that holds round number 11 of this Moto3 World Championship, where again we're still chasing that first victory. However, with Piqueras down in P wherever he is, 14, it looks like we're going to have a pretty good shot at maybe claiming that first victory here, because only him and Luca Lanetta, who starts on pole position, were faster than us in free practice on that race run that we did. So we'll have to wait and see how this one pans out, but I am feeling quietly optimistic and quietly confident ahead of this one. Our teammate joins us on the front row for the second time? Was he on the front row in Texas as well? So nice to see that he's hit form. And Piqueras actually 15th position. He's got an uphill battle on his hands. We, however, have a long lap penalty, as does Valentin Peroni, number 73 there. He's got a long lap penalty for an incident in free practice. We've got that penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which is a little bit annoying. I was a little bit caught off guard as to how close that pit lane limiter actually was. But we're going to go medium soft for this one, medium front tyre, just to give us a little bit more stability under the braking zone, and then obviously the soft tyre around this place. Although we have to be careful because there's a lot of left-handers here, and the left side of the tyre will take a battering around this very short and quirky German circuit. But without further ado, let's hand it over to Gav and let's go racing here at the Saxon Ring.
Here at the Saxon Ring, everything's ready for the on. The rider's focus at its highest. It's crucial not to drop positions off the start on this track.
Lanetta, ourselves, and then our teammate. That is the front row for the German Grand Prix as we rev up towards the start of this 9-lap race at the Saxon Ring. Let's see what we can do with the long lap penalty. Let's go racing in Germany. And it's not a good start at all as Lanetta blast off into the lead, but we move over in front of our rival Fernandez and Almanza and then swoop back ahead of Carraro. So we hold position in the end, and we do maintain second position, but it's Lanetta who leads out front. He touches the inside curb though, and there's going to be an opportunity to swoop up the inside at the Castrolamiga turn number 3, up the inside of Lanetta, and we do take the lead and over the nose of the Aspar CF Moto bike. So we lead the German Grand Prix on the opening lap of the race. I can't remember the last time I actually led a race apart from Mugello a couple of rounds ago, so it's nice to be at the front with clear track ahead of us. But as we head now through turn number 7, our teammate Carraro blasts his way through, so it's a snipers 1-2 in Germany. That will do nicely, and we can actually afford to just sit behind our teammate really and protect our teammate a little bit for the opening couple of corners to try and see if when the flag comes out on lap number 9 as somebody goes down. Richie Moodley further behind has crashed out of the race, but it'd be nice when the flag drops at the end of it as we go wide and pick up a track limits warning on the first lap of the race. That is not what you want to be doing. But as I was trying to say, it'd be nice if we can maybe get a snipers 1-2 as Fernandez, the man who hates us in this career mode save, is all over the back of us, and he will, I'm sure, be looking to dive bombers at every given opportunity as Munoz slides out in the background. David Munoz goes down at the final corner. Is he out of this race or does he rejoin? He is out of the German Grand Prix, so the man who is hitting a bit of form, David Munoz, crashes out of the race as Fernandez looks to the inside again into turn number 1, but we're later on the brakes than him, and that will just wind him up a little bit more and a little bit more as we go through this race, as he can't get by us. His little facial expression, where Carraro's is all smiley and happy, Fernandez's, as you might see very shortly as he looks to the inside at turn 3, is a bit angry and a bit sad with us. So our relationship and reputation with Fernandez is not all that good as him and Lunetta go through at turn number 6, and we're going to try and get up the inside at turn 7, and then Almanza very nearly T-boning us on the inside as Pini, the sole remaining Dynavolt bike, looks to get through on him. Did he make it through? No, he didn't. Fernandez for now hanging on to P5, Almanza, sorry, hanging on to P5 in this one, but we are behind Fernandez and Lunetta, and then out front and escaping at the front of this field at the minute is our teammate Nicola Carraro. But this is what happened to Moodley further back in this race on the opening lap. picked up the throttle, the bike upset itself, and he went down. And then we saw Munoz sliding out of the race, and this is why, touching the inside curb at the final corner, and his race is ran at the end of the opening lap. But as we skip on to the start now, lap number 3, Lunetta looking to attack on Adrian Fernandez, but I don't think there's a way through for the Aspar bike. We're going to peel off now to the left hand side to take our long lap penalty as we head into here. It's a tricky one. We go over the inside line. Hopefully that doesn't mean that we're going to get it wrong as we come through. The long lap penalty is served and we are free now to get on with our race, and we only lose a position to David Almanza as well. So Pini all over the back of us. He's going to look to the inside at turn 3, but we hang on. And I say that is a pretty successful long lap penalty zone. Drop into P5, but we're only 1.8 seconds off the victory now, so we can try and push on. But further back, this is Boasri on the Honda Team Asia bike. He's gone down ahead of Rueda. He is out of the race. Piqueras further back in 9th place, by the way. If you're looking where he's going, and now Almanza's gone down at the final corner. So exactly the same as what David Munoz did. Almanza catching the inside curb and sliding out of the race. So Rolston's out of this race. Boasri's out of this race. And David Almanza, who had just set the fastest lap of the race, has rejoined, but he is way out of contention now for what was looking to be a strong result for the Leopard band. So the Leopard's hopes hang solely on our new race leader Fernandez, but we've got the drive and we're going to go 4 wide down the waterfall hill into the Saxon curve, and all of a sudden we go from P4 to P1 and lead the German Grand Prix. Carraro and Fernandez are in deep at the Saxon curve. Carraro hangs on to 3rd and Fernandez goes from 1st to 4th, while we go from 4th to 1st. Max Keyles's eyes have lit up as well. He's in 5th, and Pini with a bit of a gap back to the man in 6th position, but we cross the line to set our personal best lap of the race, and only a couple of hundredths of a second slower than the fastest lap of the race set by Almanza a while ago. But in towards turn number 1, you can see that we've opened up the gap over Lunetta on that Aspar bike. A big moment though for us, and that allows Lunetta to drive right up to the back of us. We lost 2.5 tenths from that moment alone, and now we leave the door wide open for Lunetta to cut through, but I'm not too bothered because our natural line will give us a switchback and then go round the outside to then switch back again at turn 6. A great bit of riding from myself and Luca Lunetta, it must be said. We take the lead of the race once more, but Lunetta's going to try and come back through. We hang it around the outside though, and we do maintain the lead over the Aspar bike, and actually Nicola Carraro might be able to get through further back as well. He looked to the inside, but no way through for our teammate who maintains 3rd position. Fernandez in 4th place. But now, as we ride on board with Jose Antonio Rueda and looking at Rolstone ahead of us, he's gone down. Rolstone is out of the race, and that gives Rueda another position, but there's a bit of a gap now forming to the back of Kelso, his teammate, and he's in front of Alvaro Carpe. There was Almanza sliding out. Almanza rejoined, so Rueda actually gaining 2 places on that previous lap. One to the unfortunate Rolstone who crashed out, and then one to Almanza who crashed out. And now he can set his sights on his teammate Kelso, who's up behind Scott Ogden, who's still running in this race after a crash in Mugello and a crash in Assen. But as you can see there, lap number 5, Rueda in P12, whilst Piqueras is in P8. So as it stands, we will be taking the lead of the Moto3 World Championship, but Lunetta's got something to say about that as he looks to the inside. There's contact at turn number 11 between the two of us as 2 lines merge into one. Lunetta wasn't quite fully alongside us, and we just turned into the corner, but now into the Saxon curve. He looks to the inside. He seems stronger on the entrance to the Saxon curve. We carry a little bit more mid-corner speed and hang it around the outside of the Aspar bike, but as we head into the final corner, we're going to have to give that one up, and Lunetta will start the final lap of the race as somebody else crashes further back. Lunetta leads onto the final lap of the race. It's Ogden who goes down. So the man that I just said has had a disastrous couple of races. It gets worse as we go round the outside of Lunetta as one Brit crashes out. The other hits the front of the German Grand Prix once more through this left-hander and now into Omega. We're going to have to play it different now. We're going to have to be tighter. Hold this tight line, rail the inside curve all the way round to not let Lunetta through. It works though. It's not quite the line that I would take, but it works on this final lap of the race. We've got to defend everywhere that we can if we want to finally break our duck and take our first victory in this Moto3 career mode. Lunetta still second, Fernandez in 3rd place, and then it's Carraro in 4th. I think Carraro's podium shots might be out of contention here, sadly. This is what happened to Scott Ogden in the top right of your screen in towards the final corner. Is he going to touch the inside curb? He does. He mounts the inside curb and slides out of the race, but we are in pole position for what will be a victory, and the first victory in the German Grand Prix. We're a little bit wide. Fernandez is through on Lunetta, so our championship rival, the man who hates us, is going to throw it to the inside. Is he going to get through? He does get through, but we switch back and get back underneath Fernandez on the exit, and now we've just got one corner to succeed and get through. And can we survive the final corner? We do. We survive the amount of attack from Fernandez, and for the first time this season, we win a race in Moto3, and it is victory for the Snipers team, and it's victory for us as we beat Adrian Fernandez on track. We beat Lunetta, and our teammates sadly missing out on a podium finish in 4th place. Quiles rounding out the top 5. Quiles and Pini. Pini has had a few crashes, but he's always, when he finishes, he's always thereabouts. But Quiles is the one to watch as well. Piqueras finishing inside the top 10. Rueda in 12th, I think that was, at the end of the race. So big championship gains for us in this one. We lost Ogden, Rolson, Bouassery, Munoz and Moodley, who crashed out on the first lap. And yeah, there we go. We finally can say that we are Moto3 race winners, and with that, return to the lead of the Moto3 World Championship. 6 points ahead of Piqueras, 3 points ahead of Rueda, and Fernandez is bringing himself in contention as well. 22 points behind at the top of the standings. Quiles up to 5th ahead of Munoz, who crashed out. So Quiles, the man that I was just saying, he's bringing himself into contention here in this Moto3 Championship. 4 points now between MSI and the Red Bull team as well at the top of the standings. We're 17 points behind, so we've managed to accelerate away from Leopard and the MTA team. But for the first time this season, we can go to the winner's enclosure as a race winner in Moto3. A victory finally. Only took 11 races to get our first win of the season, and hopefully that can be the first of many now. We can maybe do that iconic thing that you see with riders who don't get their first win, and then once they get their first win, they just keep on winning. That would be perfect if we can do that, but I think we're going to have a base of the season so far. It's going to be a difficult one to keep the momentum rolling, because there are so many fast guys at the front of this Moto3 field. But for now, we are victorious, and we can celebrate in style after winning the German Grand Prix. Congratulations there from our teammate Carraro. Carpe too busy focusing on our move that we set up a couple of episodes ago, starting to begin talks with the Red Bull KTM IO squad. Whether or not that will come to fruition, we'll have to wait and see, because after that victory, and if we keep cementing ourselves at the front of the Moto3 field, then we might have opportunity to join a Moto2 team for next season. But I would ideally like to go to Moto2 as a world champion. I don't particularly want to do another season of Moto3. We've still got many more episodes in the Moto3 career mode to get done before we get to the point where we will join the Moto2 squad. But we do have to make a decision about 3/4 of the way through the season as to whether we want to join Moto2 or stay with Moto3 as well. So we could join the Moto2 team and then end up finishing 4th in the Moto3 World Championship. So it's going to have to be a risk that we're going to take. But for now, we're talking to the Red Bull KTM IO squad to potentially partner Rueda, but I would expect Rueda and Piqueras to maybe move up into Moto2 in seasons to come. But there we go, that is done. The next up on our calendar is a race-off with either Rueda, Garcia or Miguel Oliveira. We're actually going to pick Oliveira because why not? We'll ride a little Ovale bikes around this circuit. But yeah, there we go. Finally, we can say that we are race victors in the Moto3 World Championship. That feels good. I've been wanting to say that for so long, and it's only taken 11 episodes to finally take a victory in Moto3. But in the background, we're just doing a bit of a race-off here with Miguel Oliveira and a couple of other riders. Rueda in there as well, Quiles. It'd be such a shame if Rueda was to have a little accident and have to miss the next round at Czech Republic, but obviously that's not in the game. It would be a nice feature actually to add into the game, injuries for riders and other riders, and have the riders that you see come into the Moto3 Championship to replace riders, the Spanish riders, and the riders at the front of the Spanish Championship to come in and replace you as well. But there we go, that is going to be it for today. If you guys enjoyed the episode and enjoyed our first victory in Moto3, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys with the Czech Grand Prix very, very soon. So until then, thank you for watching. I'll leave you with the final lap of this Ovale race. But until then, I will see you for the next one, as Marc Marquez has given up on life. And then I don't actually know what happened. But anyway, there you go. MotoGP for you. Till then, thank you for watching, and goodbye.